Hello and welcome to our SJ&D information session. Though I'm sure everyone's Thanksgiving looked quite different this year, I hope you all had a joyful and healthy holiday. Whether, just kind of hunkering down at home, or if you were able to be with family, we hope that it was a special time for you. Today, we wrap up our 4-part informational series with a conversation which we're really excited about, talking about student life at SJ&D. So diving into leadership, student activities, athletics, and campus ministry. My name is Gabby Lippy. I am the Director of Admission and graduate of the SJ&D class of 2008. And I am joined today by the other members of our enrollment team. Mrs. Eileen Graybeal, our Director of Enrollment Management, as well as an alumni parent. She will be leading our live Q&A this evening. And by Mr. Sean Obligacion, our Admission Associate and graduate of the class of 2015. So we're all happy to be with you this evening. First, I would like to introduce the principal of St. Joseph Notre Dame High School, Ms. Julie Guevara, who will share a few words and lead us in prayer.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Lippy. It is such a privilege to be with you this evening, and I hope that your journey of exploring high schools and finding your next home for the next 4 years has been one of curiosity, inquiry, and hopefully we're here tonight to share a little bit about our co-curricular program with you. But before we get into that, we start every day with prayer led by our SJ&D students. So this is one way for you to see how our campus ministry student executive leadership board members lead our school.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, December 1st, the feast day of St. Edmund Campion. Please put yourself in the presence of God and let's gather in prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, during this first week of Advent, our theme is hope. We ask you for hope, and to remind us that your love will not fail us because we trust you. Help us to prosper in your love, because we need your love. We need your strength. Let us grow in our faith with you by our side. In your name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Hey everyone! Since it's the first day of December, today's Advent challenge is to listen to your favorite Christmas songs. Have an amazing Tuesday.
And that is how we started our day today, December 1st. Can you imagine it's already December? Like Ms. Lippy shared, I serve as the principal of St. Joseph Notre Dame High School. This is my 15th year here at the school, and my second year is serving as the principal. One of the things I love sharing is that I'm a native San Franciscan, and my entire educational career has been through Catholic schools, and it has been an excellent experience for me. One of my fondest memories from high school in particular are the ones that involved what you'll learn about tonight is things outside of the classroom. We call them co-curriculars. So not that you won't have any fun or create fond memories in the classroom while learning your academic courses, you also will have a lot of fun outside of the classroom with all the different opportunities in campus ministry, student activities, leadership, athletics, clubs. And it's a way for you to explore kind of some interests that you may not know you've been interested in, or develop your passions that you already have an inclination to join in on. And for me, I know that participating in co-curriculars led me to meet friends that I'm still very, very good friends with, build relationships and mentorship, camaraderie with others, and ultimately led me to know what I wanted to do in life, who I wanted to serve, what I wanted to do. And I'm doing that work now, and I'm living that life. And to be honest, a lot of it had to do with what I engaged in co-curricularly outside of the classroom during high school. So tonight you have a wonderful opportunity to ask questions from students directly, but also the leaders of our Student Life team, and they'll introduce themselves in a little bit. So at this time, I want the ALT members to introduce themselves. I'm gonna point out Sophia is gonna be our first student introducing herself, and you might recognize her because you just saw her in the daily challenge that she offered up us today. So before the evening's over, be sure to listen to your favorite Christmas song. Sophia?
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Castellanos and I am currently a junior here at SJND. I previously attended St. Joachim Catholic School in Hayward. Some of the student life activities that I have been involved in are Campus Ministry Executive Board, Link Crew, Ambassador Leadership Team, SJND Studios, and last year I was the Men's JV Team Manager.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aiden Dudley. I am a junior here at SJND. I went to Lincoln Middle School, and some of the activities that I'm involved in at St. Joe's, I'm a part of the Associated Student Body. I'm the Spirit and Rally Coordinator of our school. And I'm also a leader on BSU. I'm an officer for our Black Student Union. I'm involved in our basketball program as well. And I'm also a part of Link Crew.
And we'll go with Mateo.
I'm Mateo George. I'm a sophomore, and my previous school was EBI in Emeryville. Some of the things that I am involved in at St. Joe's are I'm involved with the baseball team, doing ALT, and I'm also part of STEAM Club.
Hello, my name is Lina Flores, and I am currently a junior. And I previously attended St. Joseph Elementary School, and some of the student life activities I participated in is Ambassador Leadership Team, Women's Tennis, Fandom Club, as well, and Triumph.
Awesome. Thank you, students, and thank you, Principal Guevara. We are also thrilled to have our Student Life adult team members here with us this evening. They will be introducing themselves and speaking about their role and programs. And following their introductions, we will conduct a live Q&A and ask that you start thinking about and typing any questions that you may have for our leaders and our students into the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And we will prioritize your live questions. We want to know what you want to know about our student life programs. So we'll start off with Mr. Chris Costolo.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming and looking for interest in our school. My name is Chris Costolo. I'm the Assistant Principal of Student Life and Dean of Students at SJND. This is my second year at SJND, although I am familiar with the school. I am an alum of 1999. When I attended SJND, it's interesting that I'm now managing the Student Life program because I participated in sports. I was on CLT, and I was also part of the Campus Ministry Executive Board. It's funny, this is the first time I'm saying that, but to know that I've participated in all of those and being able to manage them all is very much full circle for me. I also oversee all of the discipline in the school and pass it off to our wonderful team members.
And we can start with Ms. Jennifer Stein.
Thank you. I didn't write down the order, so I was wondering if you were going to tell us when we were going to go. Thank you, Ms. Lippy. Like Mr. Costolo, I'm also an alum of the school, and like Miss Lippy and Mr. Abogasian. So it tells you something about our school, that we love it so much we come back to work for it. So watch out, all of you 8th and 7th graders that are out there. Maybe you'll be here in 20 years, hopefully. And I also started with Miss Guevara 15 years ago, which is crazy because I'm only like 25. So it's just weird how that happens. I really enjoy doing student activities and working with students, and everyone just says like I'm all about the fun. It's totally true. My first year working at the school, I chaperoned every single dance, and back then we probably had like a dance a month. So I mean, I knew all of the music, and I realized the other day my husband and I took a drive and we're listening to the radio, and I didn't know any of the songs. And I was like, man, we have been in distance learning too long, because I am already out of date with the music. So looking forward to getting back to keeping hip and keeping young with the students at SJND.
Awesome. And Mr. Carlos Arriaga.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's thank you for joining us this evening. I have to say, Jen, I don't know, athletics is pretty fun itself. So, you know, I give you a little bit of competition in that regard. Just a little bit about myself. This is my 23rd year in Catholic education. I started out right out of college, and so it's been a part of my professional career, and one that I've enjoyed every moment of it. Just to share a little bit about when I first got involved in Catholic education, I taught in the classroom. I taught health education, sports medicine, PE, and also served as an athletic trainer and helped athletes who were injured, rehabilitation. And then I also served as a strength and conditioning coach. And I share that with you because I think it's relevant in my work in terms of having a broad scope of all aspects of what it means to have a very successful athletic program. Those two elements are really, really key in that regard. This is my 5th of the 23 years I've been in Catholic education. This is my 15th year in athletic administration. I'm a member of the Catholic National Athletic Association, involved, intimately with aligning your athletic program with your Catholic identity, which has been something near and dear to my heart. My Catholic faith is something that is very important to me, and I carry that with me in all the work that I do, both through the lens that I see things and my intention in that work. It's also such a big part of this community. See, what else can I share? I live in Oakland. My wife and I have an 8-year-old son, so we've been juggling all the distance learning experiences we're all having together. So that's been quite fun in terms of us being able to be home together and enjoy that time. I love athletics. Obviously, I've been in it for a long time. It's had a huge impact on me personally, and I carry a lot of those life experiences with me today. And so I, want to make sure that those same experiences that I had, I'm able to carry on and for our students, and that they're able to have a great experience with outstanding coaches, mentors, peers who just, they love to be around and create those lifelong memories. And so it's something that I carry with me every day. And, I love our program. I love our community and what it's about, and just the community, the family feel, the authenticity of our school and staff is really what's really special about this place. And so I look forward to answering any questions you might have, and good luck with your search. I know there's a lot to take in. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And finally, Ms. Myra Capulong.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Myra Capulong, and I am serving as the campus minister at St. Joseph Notre Dame High School. This is my 2.5 year. I actually started at SJND in the fall of 2018 as a theology teacher, which is my original passion, being in the class and teaching theology, getting to dive into some of the bigger questions with students, questions of ethics and morality. That's my first love. But I am thoroughly enjoying my time serving as campus minister. It's opened up so much of my world into what the students are questioning, how they go about with their faith lives. With campus ministry, we work on retreats, the liturgies, the faith formation of both the students and the adults on campus. So I get to work with students like Sophia, wonderful, wonderful students who are not only excellent at their academics, but also passionate about their faith lives and about the faith life of the school. I'm a product of Catholic education myself, as well as half years of public education. So I feel like I get to bring both an understanding of kind of that of the private Catholic school experience and public education as well. And that helps me connect to the students as best as I can. A little bit about me personally, I am a mother of 2 children, a 9-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. So like Mr. Arriaga, I'm also in deep with the remote learning here at home. So I can empathize with all of you out there who are doing this remote learning. And when we are on campus, normally you'll see me walking around Marinus Hall, and maybe one of these days you'll get to see my kids walking around too. They love to be part of the community and go to the liturgical celebrations and the music concerts. So it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, all of you, students and faculty. Before we go on to the Q&A section, I just want to add in that I had 2 children that graduated from this school, and I was not working here when we selected St. Joe's, so I know the journey that you're all on as families and trying to find the right fit for your student. And both of my children had an awesome experience and went on to be very adjusted and ready for college. So I look at that as a parent relief. But before we go on, I'm going to actually bring Ms. Guevara back onto the screen for a moment.
I just wanted to say a special hello and honor when I started, and Mrs. Stein started 15 years ago. One of the student activities leader was our activities fierce leader, Miss Judy Conniff-Clatt. And I just wanted to say hello to Steve Conniff-Clatt and granddaughter Viviana, who is watching tonight. Know that Miss KK, as we all know her, is still here present, and the pilot spirit is with us still, and she led that. So welcome back and glad to see you here.
Thank you, Julie. Also, I did not work with Judy at the school, but for St. Teresa's Elementary School, and worked with her for my years here at this school, and just a phenomenal human being. So glad you can join us today. So we're going to be going on to a Q&A section. What we've learned in all of our times in admissions is that families love to hear from students, and they love to hear from teachers. Not that they don't think we're nice people, but we are not the ones they want to hear the most from, because it's the day-to-day life that they're interested in regards to their children. So I'm going to orchestrate some questions here as we go. And for those of you in the audience, if you have questions, you can drop them into the Q&A, or if you're more comfortable, you can drop them into the chat as we go through this. So I'm going to start with the first question to Mr. Costolo. And the question is, how does the school help freshmen and transfer students transition to SJND?
Thank you. Yeah, so we have a transition to high school program. Some of our students mentioned they were on Link Crew. So Link Crew is our leadership program for sophomores, juniors, and seniors to be leaders for our incoming 9th graders. So they plan different activities and orientation, do team building activities. 2 Link Crew leaders are assigned to a group of students where they'll do check-ins and throughout the school year, socials. So it's a way for students. We also understand that we have so many students coming from all over the Bay Area. They may not know other students at SJND. They may be the only student from their school coming to the school. So if we feel like if we're able to connect students right through the gate on day 1, at least they know 7, 8 other students starting the school on the first day, as well as 2 upper class students who have been around the block a little bit and can help them maneuver through high school and SJ&D in general.
Great, thank you. I would like to ask Sophia if you could talk about when you came to the school, did you know anyone or how many people you knew, and how was that transition for you?
Yeah, when I was coming to SJ&D, I was only coming in knowing 2 people. So that was like really stressful on my part. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to know anyone once I'm going into high school. So it was really nerve-wracking, but I vividly remember when we had orientation and all our little socials before school had started. I ended up going in on the first day of school knowing like a whole bunch of people just because of those couple of days we spent on campus before school in our link crew. So that honestly really helped. And I just made friends like that. Like everyone is just so welcoming, and you know, it's just very easy to adapt to each other.
Awesome, thank you. So we do have a question that is, I heard there is a Black Student Union. Can you tell me how many African-American students attend SJ&D, and are there any affinity groups for families? So we do have, and I believe it's updating on our website, but we do have a percentage, what we call a percentage wheel, that gives you the more detailed percentages of ethnicity breakout within the school. So I don't have that number exactly in front of me at this point, but I do know, I think Aiden, you spoke about it, but somebody spoke about the Black Student Union, if you want to talk about it and kind of what the program does. In regards to, there are affinity groups for families. You know, we're embarking upon, we've always been a very diverse school. We're actually through a company called Niche, which does evaluations on schools and ranking of schools. And we are highly ranked as a high performance school for diversity, both locally, statewide, and nationally. So an area that we're expanding upon within our school, we can have Mr. Costolo talk more about, which is going to incorporate more student and parent engagement. But before we go to that portion, does one of the students want to talk about, or any of you in the BSU, and do you want to talk about it?
Sure, I can talk about it. So this is my second year as an officer on BSU. Actually, last year I was the leadership coordinator. This year I'm the vice president of BSU. And pretty much what it is, a lot of is, for me personally, it was a group of Black men and women, Black young men and women, where you can come to, right? And you always know that you have kind of a community inside of the community, right? For some people, it's harder for them to open up to a different race, or it's harder for them to open up in a situation where they're not familiar with the people who they're around. And so kind of having that community, right, is something that BSU strives for. And we always try to be as inclusive as possible with everybody, right? One of our missions on BSU is to kind of educate everybody, right? And that that's also kind of like a leadership aspect for all of our young Black men and women, because, you know, they like having the opportunity for themselves to educate everybody else and show their Blackness is it's an amazing thing, and it's a beautiful thing as well. And so it's really fun to see on campus. Every year we have the student assembly showcase where we do certain things with that. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing at St. Joe's.
Thank you. Mr. Costolo, do you want to just speak a moment about the parent affinity groups or the work we're going to be doing with the parents as well as students?
Yes, so we're doing, you know, equity is a big focus for us this year at SJ&D, as well as our years moving forward. Some of the opportunities we're doing to try to engage our stakeholders in our parent community is by holding listening sessions and just understanding their experience at SJ&D, you know, their students' experience, just so they could share, find affinity within that, and then also be able to give feedback in ways that they see SJ&D improving and connecting parents and students alike with one another. So I think in order for us to know how to create these affinity groups, first thing we need to do is collect data and collect feedback from our community.
Right, thank you. The next question is maybe for Mrs. Stein. Can you please tell us about music co-curriculars? For example, for someone who plays piano, violin, guitar, do we have any groups for that?
Yeah, we actually, well, Miss Sokola is our music teacher, and she's amazing and plays like every single instrument ×2. And she has been really generous with her time. So she has a jazz band club, and they do performances on campus basically, and dances. They've performed also basically anytime they want to perform, I say yes. And then new within the last 2 years, she started a student started a strings club, and they have actually been able to meet outside on their own, socially distance, and play music together, which has been really great for them, because it's harder for them to play in the classroom when you're a string instrument. I'm not musically gifted, but that's why they started that organization, and they do hope to someday put on a whole concert. And then there's also, Lina's a part of our Tri-M, which is our National Music Honors Society, and they also have opportunities to perform outside of the classroom. To be in the Honors Society, you have to do a solo performance, which is always really fun to watch. And then we have a one voice choir also, that our musicians are a part of. So if you want even more opportunities to play, you can join our one voice choir. And sometimes we have that box drum. We have a couple of people that play guitar, and definitely if you are a pianist, I believe Waverly is graduating this year, so we're going to need to get a new student in to play at all of our masses, and she does the accompaniment for the one voice choir also. She's amazing. Lots of opportunities.
Thank you. Question I'm going to direct to Principal Guevara. Given the pandemic, do you anticipate a full reopening in the fall?
The pandemic, every day is different. We're all pivoting constantly. And really, in terms of planning for a return for fall next year, we will plan for that. We really won't know much until, we continue to wear our masks, we distance, and we see the numbers dropping. Right now, with most of California being in the purple tier, we're really aiming to return on campus in person at some point in the spring. And hopefully, if we all are caring for one another and doing our job and keeping everyone safe and the numbers down with that vaccine soon to be out, we hope and pray, but time can only tell, and our actions can impact that. So let's all continue to be safe so we can all return, because we desperately want to be on campus.
Thank you. I'm going to answer one really quickly and then go to a different question, which is, the question is, do you have transportation options for students coming from different parts of the Bay Area? And we do. We have 2 bus stops. We actually have an SJND bus, and we have school vans. We have a stop at the San Leandro BART station. It picks up in the morning somewhere between 7 and 7:15. And then there are 2 times to go back to home, which is right about an hour after school at 3:30 or at 5:45, which is for students who want to stay after school or play sports or are involved in theater or some after school activity. The other stop is the BART station at Lake Merritt. Those are stops that we will evaluate and look at as time goes on as far as adding them and availability for that. But as of right now, those are the ones we have. The next question I'm going to send to Mr. Arriaga is, would being a freshman limit the amount of sports we're able to play?
Well, the one thing I'll say about at a small school is that it does lend itself to multi-sport athletes. And I think that is a real differentiator against larger schools, is that kids are given that opportunity to. I have to say, I think we have 70% of our student athletes who are participating in athletics. And of that 70%, 20% of that group participates in multiple sports. And so I think that's a real, for those who love athletics, the opportunity to participate in multiple sports is really, really, that's what we offer. And I think it's a real valuable in that regard. The other thing that I will say around freshmen is because of the size of our school, it does provide opportunities for underclassmen to play at a varsity level. And I think that's a real key to know that that's a real option. And so just to be aware of that. Now, some of our sports are, very competitive, very competitive, and we have cuts. Many of our sports are no cut. So there's plenty of opportunity to participate as a freshman and in multiple sports.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick updates. Thank you, Mrs. Stein. We do have a very generous parent carpool, by the way. It does become a normal part of life at SJND, how families come together, where they live, what their students are involved in, and we can encourage and support in that way. And I also want to bring back some percentages. Thank you, Ms. Guevara. She gave us some information, which is for ethnicity percentages that we have here are for Black, it's 13%, Asian, 23%, White is the largest at this point, and it's 24%. Multiracial is 18%. So if there's any other questions around that, please don't hesitate to ask. I want to direct to the students, and any of you can speak to this in kind of co-way. What sports do you participate in, and how has the experience enhanced your high school experience? So any of you can answer if you need me to pick someone. We can start with Mateo.
Well, since I did baseball my first year, and I also did it this year, so I found that it was really helpful just to get to know a lot of like the seniors and juniors, because for fall ball, I had to get a ride from one of the seniors, and so I got to know him through that, and his brother as well. I just got to know a lot of people through baseball because it's a really tight group of people, and you basically know everyone by the end of the season.
Thank you. How about, let's see, how about the question around the practice schedules? So Mateo, maybe you want to add to that, because that is a shift from grade school to high school, often is the frequency of practice. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, my elementary school didn't have a baseball team, but I did play on my own for like a league near my house and stuff. So the practice was definitely a lot more. I remember it being like a lot, especially with a lot of homework and stuff to do. But with the amount of support that I had, it was really not that much of an issue. I kept my grades up, and the coaches always made sure to ask if we were on top of our homework before we start practice and when we end practice.
Great, thank you. I think that's another piece just to add on to, and maybe Sophia or Aiden or Lina as well, is how do you balance involvement, not just sports, but if you're doing a co-curricular and your academics, how do you balance that?
I can try. I'll take this one first. It's hard to learn the balance. I think that one of the biggest things that you learn fast at St. Joe's is time management. So my freshman year, I ran cross country and I played on the freshman basketball team. So that was a lot because both of those sports are a fall and winter sport. And I wasn't ready for finals, and so I kind of fell behind fast at my freshman year. And then I ended up playing a lot of catch up, which is not something you want to play in academics. But luckily, as time went on, I was able to develop a closer relationship with my teachers and my coaches. And I'll say that one of the best experiences I've ever had, like truly in talking to adults, was the experiences I've had talking to my coaches at St. Joe's. I had to have a lot of conversations with my cross country coach because practices went every day, and you run 4 or 5 miles every day to stay in shape. But then that also takes a lot of time. So I had to have a conversation with him. I said, hey, Coach Tony, can I try to run later tonight instead of trying to run with the team so that I can go to the study hall after school? And Coach Tony was totally okay with it. All the coaches are totally okay with it, because everybody at St. Joe's, all of the teachers, all of the coaches, all have the right mindset in that it's, you're a student athlete, so the academics always come first. And they do a great job in communicating with you and making sure you're on top of your stuff and making sure that you are in the best position to succeed both on and off the field.
Great, thank you very much. Question, I think, Julie, this might be yours to answer, but can you please talk a little bit about the homework load, and is there an emphasis on AP classes and or honors classes? Also, I believe some Catholic schools have test retake opportunities or homework 3-day turn-in windows. Does SJND have any policies like this? It's a lot of questions in one.
I think what's best, first, it's been a long time since I've done homework that I needed to turn in. I have different kind of homework now, but we have shifted some of our grading policies to, yes, retake some tests, what things are assessments versus assignments, late work. But in terms of balancing homework load, I think it would be beneficial to hear from the students. You heard maybe not from Aiden since he just chatted, but you know, Sophia, Mateo, or Lina about how you guys do manage, because you guys are doing the work, as well as what, if any, pressures there are to take AP classes or not to. Philosophically, as a leader's school, it's about finding the best course and amount of rigor, whether it is college prep or advanced placement or honors for each student. Each student is very different, and that is where our counselors work very closely with our students to make sure that either they're not taking too many AP courses or honors courses where, you know, mental health and balance and time management, what Aiden talked about, is not compromised, or also maybe challenging students who might not want to take some challenging courses that they are capable of. So if you guys don't mind, maybe Sophia, Mateo, or Lina speak to the homework load and maybe retakes of tests. Sophia, why don't you go first?
Yeah, Sophia, go first.
Homework load is really just depends on the classes you decide to take. So for example, freshman year, I didn't take any advanced classes. I came into high school just going all on level. And I don't want to say it was easy, but it definitely wasn't as hard as my sophomore and junior year, now that I'm taking several advanced classes. Homework load does depend, I guess, on, you could say, the week. You know, some days teachers pack on the work, some days they don't. So it really just depends. But like Aiden said, time management really is key to success. Like, procrastination is not acceptable, yet every student does do it. It does come up. And yeah, the test retake, the homework, the grading has all changed due to distance learning. We're allowed to retake any test and quiz right at this moment, but when we were in school, like in-person school, it just depended on the teacher if they wanted us to retake it. So I guess it just.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you talk about, you said you came in as a freshman taking all college prep classes, the on level. What made you decide to take advanced classes? Was that your own? Was that your family discussion? Was that counselor?
Honestly, it was probably a little bit of everything. Mr. Gunty, he's my counselor. He told me, like, you know, you can totally take advanced classes. Like, high school is the time to like push yourself. If you know you can do it, like, you should just do it. And my parents, they were like, you know, you can do whatever you want, but we have faith that you will succeed. And I wanted to challenge myself, you know, like, because high school is preparing me for college in the real world. So I thought it was just best for me to take those advanced classes. And they're not that bad, you know.
Thank you, Sophia. That's great. One of the questions for Myra, where did it go? What does the campus ministry program do to reach out to the student population?
And perhaps Sophia can chime in on this as well afterwards, because she's part of the Campus Ministry Executive Board. So first off, we have a student team, the Campus Ministry Executive Board. They pretty much make several of the decisions about the themes for liturgy and how we're going to reach out to the students as well. One of the things that we did this year in conjunction with activities and with athletics was develop the Pilot Pods program. So that was a weekly online meeting, about an hour during one of the flex periods, and we had about 3 different curriculums. Well, curriculum's not the right word, but programs. So one of the sessions would focus on just kind of character development and checking in with the students to see where they were. Another one was teaching them how to practice meditation and prayer. And then some was just kind of like games and fun. So that's one way that campus ministry has been involved with helping to reach out, is to kind of contribute to those programs, and also just keep aware of where the students are at. Sophia could probably answer this, but we also, with morning prayer, just kind of taking a pulse on the student community, offering daily challenges, or what we call lifts, living in faith together, something that CMEB developed, an acronym that they created. Right now we have an Advent calendar posted on the bulletin. So we really just try and encourage the students to develop their faith life, to partake in that spiritual journey. And when we're in person, we have that through retreats and liturgies, and even in remote, we do a lot of online things as much as possible.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Stein, we get a lot of questions about clubs when we, in admissions, do our virtual visit with 8th graders. Can you talk about the types of clubs we have at SJND and how students can start clubs?
Yeah, definitely. Our club program really changes every year because it is 100% student initiated and run. So it kind of depends on the interests of the students. And so some clubs come and go over the years. It's always fun to see when they come back. And some have been at the school for 100 years, like our Red Cross Club, so we have about, I would say on average, about 36 clubs, and we have cultural clubs, and then also a lot of like gaming interest clubs, like chess club, video games, esports, and then a lot of service. Our kids are really interested in service. So we actually have a club that just started this year. I want to put a plug for them, Girl Up. They're doing a Raising the Bar for Girls Education. So for a donation, you can participate in a ballet bar class, which I think is really awesome, coming up December 19th. And yeah, so it really just depends. Lina is an officer of our Fandomania Club, which is just like, if you're a fan of something, come and join us. So last year we played a lot of Super Smash Brothers, and this year they're really into anime, and she made a whole Discord. I think that's what it's called. And they just talk about anime all day long. And it's really cute to watch. So yeah, it just depends. One freshman this year was really interested in being a part of a mythology club, but wasn't quite ready to take a leadership role. But I've kind of been edging her a little bit, maybe getting her prepared to start that next year. So really just, if you have an interest that other students share, you can have a club.
Great, thank you very much. So I'm going to kind of move over to this student. I'll probably do Sophia because it's about campus ministry. Sophia, so what are SJND retreats like, and what has been the most memorable for you?
Yeah, so we have 4 retreats out of your whole 4 years at SJND. So you basically have one per year. They're just a way to connect with your peers, with your faith, just all in one. We do different activities throughout the whole day. So it's faith-filled, fun, group work, individual reflection. It's just honestly filled with just a bunch of things, discovering who you are, discovering your faith. It's just so many different opportunities. I've only been on 2 retreats, but the most memorable one out of the 2 is definitely going to St. Anthony's my sophomore year in San Francisco. It was just really I just felt really warm-hearted to serve the homeless, and just it really opened my eyes to see that, you know, not everyone is considered homeless. They just went through a tough time, and they just needed a little extra help from the community. So I think it's just really the way you look out life and everything is just really rewarding in the end. So
Thank you. Mr. Oriega, so many students are excited to participate, obviously, in high school sports. Can you talk about how students qualify for a team, like what the process is? I know you mentioned earlier they can play, you know, at a varsity level potentially, but can they play more than one sport at a time as well?
Yeah, we have 3 seasons of sport, and so that typically what'll happen is the start of those seasons in the fall starts in August. The winter traditionally will start in November, and the spring sports start in February. And so prior to the start of each season, many of our programs have kind of an off-season program leading up to that start of the season, and many of our programs are no cut. So, just being prepared for the start of each of those seasons. Our coaches will be in communications with those students who are interested in participating, and for those sports that are competitive and do have cuts, a lot of work leading up to that, because of the competitiveness, will be paramount for those specific sports. And that typically is in the our winter seasons tend to be the most competitive with basketball, but volleyball in the fall is very competitive, baseball in the spring. So but yeah, I think in terms of multiple sport athletes, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a good number of kids who participate in multiple sports. 20% of our kids, that's a huge number. And it's a great opportunity, as Mateo mentioned earlier, for younger students coming into our school, the opportunity to learn and engage with seniors. That's a huge opportunity and value for mentorship to take place, and for those seniors to learn mentorship or teach the younger kids, and for the younger kids to learn how to be a mentor once they get in that position. And so I think that's the very unique thing about our program.
Yes, it is. Thank you. A couple of quick questions I do want to answer is, there was a question about, let me go back up here. What is the highest course to be able to take for all 4 separate years? All of our subject matters, the majority of our subject matters have AP course offerings. I think one of the higher ones is there's a calculus AB and a BC, which I think is first level college level for those courses, but it would depend. If you want to be more specific about a certain subject, you can ask that question in the chat, but that's what we have at this point. And then Ms. Stein, is there an amount limit for students in clubs?
Oh yeah, I just answered it in the chat. No, our aerospace club is probably our smallest club. They have 6 people, but oh man, they had a great year. They went on a ton of field trips last year. And then some clubs, 100 kids might sign up for it, but are they all going to actually go to the club meetings? Probably not. But like how many people are in the FOSSO club right now? That's a pretty big one.
I don't know.
For FOSSO, we have about 30 people listed, maybe an additional some, but we kind of, like you said, we have people who are maybe coming more frequently or a little more active in the club than others. But yeah, it typically ranges anywhere from there for FOSSO.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see. Myra, does SJND have a hand in preparing students for confirmation, or is that done solely through our parish church?
That's done solely through the students' parish churches. So because we are a parish school, though, we have the benefit of being working closely with St. Joseph Basilica. So if there's a family who wants to be linked up with a parish who does have a confirmation program, we can help with that.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Costolo, do we have to do service hours?
Currently, we are not, students aren't required to do a certain number of service hours. We are looking at our whole service learning program because that's something we really want to be able to revamp to be able to provide more opportunities of service for our students as it is part of our mission and our faith.
Perfect, thank you. Lina, can you tell us or tell the people visiting today, can you describe the pilot spirit and when are students able to show pilot pride?
For schools, we have a bunch of events like SUBAP, which is like proud to be a pilot, and also Spirit Week. Because of the pandemic, we're mostly able to show it through certain events during lunchtime hours, as well as through certain accounts through our school's Instagram accounts, which also offer multiple opportunities to engage with your classes as well as for school spirit.
Thank you. Lina, we have a little bit of a rough connection. Mrs. Stein, do you want to just kind of reiterate a little bit about what she talked about for that spirit?
Yeah, thank you, Lina, for plugging our Instagram. If you want to see what we do, you can follow kenny.the.pilot. We just made him because we're the pilots. And so it's kind of, when we talk about like woo, pilots, right? We're like, well, we need something tangible. So he's a koala. I should have brought him. I apologize. But I would say that our school is full of spirit. Lina mentioned we do, some schools just have like homecoming spirit week once. Once is not enough for us. We do two. We do a proud to be a pilot week. That it kicks off in November, and then in March we have like a full-blown spirit week, and we dress up and we have rallies. Aiden is our rally commissioner. We have some really great rallies where we make kids eat disgusting food. For some reason, that's something that people enjoy. We play games and we like to cheer a lot. Here's Kenny. He's dressed up for Christmas. He went shopping, but this is kenny.the.pilot. So we just try to have a lot of fun however we can, and make sure that students are having a great time, and that's how we show our pilot pride.
Thank you very much. Great pilot pride. There's two questions in the chat that tonight's focus is primarily on student life, co-curricular, as well as campus ministry. But the questions, what special ed services do you offer? We do have a learning difference program within the school. And if you'd like to, you could email Ms. Lippy or myself or Mr. Obligacion, and we can talk more in depth about that program. And the other is about in regards to our computer science program. We do have beginning and advanced computer science. We also have a pathway to engineering, which incorporates a portion of that as well. Again, more academic focus, and we're absolutely happy to talk with you about that at a separate time. If you want to send us an email, we would be happy to. Our mascot, it says, do you guys have a mascot? Which right now is partially Kenny, and and we're pilots. And then how many dances are there for the freshman year? This year, unfortunately, none, but typically there's, Jen, do you want to speak about how many dances there are?
At 3 to 4, we always have, such a tough word. We typically have a welcome back dance. We have a big community barbecue in the quad, which is really fun. The parents hang out with each other, and then everybody comes to the dance. And I don't lie, everybody comes to the first dance. It's always the best dance, the funnest dance. It's usually a glow in the dark dance, because why, now it's tradition. And then we have an off-campus winter formal. Obviously there's prom, and then so we go back and forth about having an additional dance sometimes in November around Proud to be a Pilot Week. Kind of depends. Students don't really like coming to dances as much as they used to, which makes me sad. So we've kind of pivoted. We do a camp out at the end of the year, which is really fun. It's not overnight. It's just in the quad with tents and music. And that gets some really good participation with the lower classmen.
Thank you. So thank you all, students and teachers and Principal Guevara, for helping us out tonight with this information, and hopefully to the families this was helpful. So now we're going to give you some new updates. Go ahead, Mr. Obogacion or Ms. Lippy.
Yeah, so we're just going to quickly talk about our application timeline. This Friday actually is our early bird deadline, December 4th. For a reduced application fee. So if you're interested, we encourage you to complete that by Friday. But our final deadline is January 7th. In January as well, on the 9th, we will be offering the high school placement test online. So students can register for that on their application checklist. We will as well be doing family interviews in January, which is one of my favorite parts of our process, and is where we allow a faculty member to interview the student for about 10 minutes, and then the parents or guardians are able to join in on the second half, and just a great way for one of our community members to get to know our applicants and our families better, and also you as prospective families an opportunity to ask questions. So you may be interviewed by one of our awesome faculty members here today. Transcripts and recommendations from the current school are due February 4th. If families are interested in applying for tuition assistance, that's due February 8th. And then finally we notify in March. So Eileen, Sean, and myself are all here to help families and walk them through this process. We each have a meeting calendar that you can access on the website. So if you just want to sit down one-on-one via Zoom, we're happy to walk through that process. Just got a couple of questions that just came in here in the Q&A. Is the online application due December 4th, or the whole online application, like the questions? I think they mean the student essay. So the only thing due by the 4th is the kind of initial application, which just kind of some general information, and the fee. The student essay portion can be done by Friday, but the student essays are due by our final deadline on January 7th. So the only thing you have to do by the 4th is do our initial application and pay the fee. And yeah, same question as the other one there. Perfect. So yes, as I mentioned, we are here to walk you through all of these steps, and yeah, we'll be in touch with reminders as well as the process kind of progresses. So thank you again for your participation. Lots of great questions. Thank you to our students and our student life team. We are so blessed to be able to have these fearless leaders, especially during this time of distance learning, engaging our students and making us all feel connected. So we appreciate you all, and thank you, prospective families. Until we meet again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go Pilots.
Go Pilots.
Everyone.